Hey guys, how's it going? So this is online chemistry lab 2. A lot of you, or the majority of you, were in online chemistry lab. Well, maybe not the majority. About half of you were in the online chemistry lab 1. So you have a pretty good idea of how this works. Pretty unusual to be doing this kind of thing online. It's all asynchronous, unlike the lecture course. The lecture course does have one synchronous part to it. But so this is all asynchronous. You do have due dates when things got to be handed in, so forth and so on. And kind of what we've done is try to figure out there's certain things to taking a in-person laboratory class that are priorities that we normally like you to be exposed to. We want you to understand that you need to read a procedure before you go into a laboratory and do it. It makes it go faster, it makes it go better, and most importantly, it makes it go safer. So had to figure out a way, well, how can we, if we're not actually going to go into the laboratory, how can we instill that in the students? It's very important to have like a notebook prepared and stuff like, oh, I know I'm going to be taking down data for, weights and masses and color changes and stuff like that. You don't want to just be scribbling it all over your book and stuff. You want to have like a chart, like, oh, okay, this puka is where I'm going to put that, and so forth and so on. So how can we create that in a situation where they're not actually going to be going in and taking lab? And then what you often find in any laboratory situation, you have a written procedure, maybe you got it from the literature, or you got it from some book or something like that, and you have a procedure that you're going to do. But very frequently, for whatever reason, when you go and do it yourself, it's not exactly like what's written in the procedure. So what's critical is that while you're in the lab doing an experiment, you need to be writing down what you do so that if you go to redo the experiment, you can use how you did it last time, okay? Because what if the experiment works and it works great, but you made changes along the way from the written one, you don't remember what the changes are. Okay, so that's really critical. And so we needed to figure out a way that we could recreate that. And we wanted it to be individualized so that you're not just, here's the data, entire class, and you're all doing the exact same calculations with the exact same values. So I had to figure out some way to sort of create an individualistic nature about it as best as possible. So really, to be quite honest, this isn't ideal. We want you, this accomplishes a lot of things. It teaches you some chemistry, teaches you how to do it in a chemistry lab, but also sort of gets you, if you were doing the real class, the real in-person one, gets you used to being in a lab and gets you some of those butterflies about maybe being in a lab. It gets that out and everything like that. So this isn't ideal, but I feel like what we got put together here it's not half bad. It works out pretty well, and this is an introductory course, so we actually at HB we didn't do this kind of thing. No online labs for upper division courses or upper division laboratory courses. So. And I've now actually had students take this online version, and then they're in my class for organic laboratory, and it doesn't seem to have hurt them that they did the online part. So if that's any sort of reassurance to you, then great. Okay, so how does this deal work? So there are going to be procedures uploaded to Blackboard. Written procedures, the kind of thing that if you were going to go into the laboratory and do, you would read them beforehand and really know it. Read it a couple of times usually, was what I tell students who are going to work in the laboratory. So you will read those, and then you're going to create what I call a student pre-lab assignment, or student pre-lab, I guess is all I call it. Okay. That is different from the pre-lab lecture, which I recorded and you'll watch and stuff. Very different. And you actually do the student pre-lab for a particular experiment before you watch the pre-lab lecture video. The only thing you need to do to create the student pre-lab is to read the written procedure. Okay? And the kind of things that are on the pre-lab, there's going to be a template up there on Blackboard so you can see. But there will be an overview of the experiment. kind of just a paragraph. Oh, this is to look at this is to figure out the empirical formula of an inorganic salt using grammametric techniques. Blah 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 blah. I'm having struggling coming up with something ad nauseum, but so there will be the overview. And then you'll have a place where any kind of formulas that you're going to be using for that particular experiment, you want to put your formulas in there. You want to create a table where you can record the data. I know I'm going to need a mass of my magnesium. I know I'm going to need a volume of HCl. I know I'm going to need color change during the experiment. So you want to create little pukas for where that information goes, or a table for where that information goes. And then you want to investigate the chemicals that are going to be used, and you want to see what are the safety issues involved with those chemicals. It's a very important habit to get into in general, because you want to have an idea: is this stuff what are the hazards associated with this particular chemical? What am I going to do if there's a spill or it gets on me or something like that? Okay, so we now in the chemistry industry, we use something called pictograms, and there's a different picture for a pyrophoric, there's a different picture for something that's toxic, there's a different picture for something that is carcinogenic, and the template up there actually has all those pictures. So all you need to do, how do I find out? Gideon, I know I'm going to use this chemical in here, HCl. How do I find out what the safety hazards are? There is a website called hazard.com. There's also, honestly, Wikipedia. And a teacher telling us to go to Wikipedia. Yeah, for Wikipedia, for historical or controversial or political, blah, 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 not a very good source. But for chemical properties and stuff, I've always found it to be amazingly accurate. So that's a pretty good place to go. You do want to know what pictograms are associated with that. So if the Wikipedia page doesn't have it, a lot of the time the manufacturers that sell that chemical do. Sigma Aldrich sells a lot of chemicals. So this pre-lab is not terribly time consuming to prepare. It's not something I make my online or my in-person students typically do. They typically have pop quizzes to see that they've read the procedure. So you're having to do something that the in-person students don't have to do. But you don't also have to drive in your car or go on the bus and go all the way to Hawaii Loa and then do it and so forth and so on. So it all kind of works out in the end. I'm going to look at the syllabus, make sure I'm remembering everything. That's the wrong one, so sorry, this is not very smooth filming here. Okay, so that's the student pre-lab. With any lab, pretty much any laboratory class, there's usually a pre-lab lecture. That's where a teacher talks about sort of the theory behind it, formulas behind it, gives you an idea of what you're going to be doing in the lab for that particular day, prepares you to do the assignment in addition to the reading that you've done. By the way, before I forget, the procedures that you read, okay, listen very carefully. The procedures that you read, they have at the bottom, they have information about the assignment, or they have information about assignment. You don't do that. Ignore that, okay? All the assignments for my particular version of this course are separate document. You open the assignment and it tells you what to do, okay? So you can ignore the thing at the bottom of the procedures that you're going to read that say assignment, so forth and so on, okay? All right, so you watch the pre-lab video, pre-lab lecture video that I do, okay, you take some good notes, so forth and so on, and then you're actually going to watch a video of mostly me doing the experiments, okay? And again, while you're watching me do the experiment, you're going to want to be writing down the procedure. When you write down those procedures, first thing Gideon did was he weighed out magnesium. Okay, weigh magnesium in a weighing boat. It doesn't need to be like, no good grammar. Okay, it should be in list form. Honestly, the more clear it is, the better. So list form is best. You don't have to use complete sentences. It can be poor grammar. But here's the test. The test to know, have I done a good enough job of making this procedure, is could I take your procedure that you wrote down and could I follow that to do it, the assignment? You know, get rid of the original procedure and could I just use your procedure that you made? If it's not detailed enough so that I can't do the procedure, then it's not adequate. Okay. I also, along the way in my videos, I give what I call helpful hint observations. My favorite one, it'll be in there someplace. And this is kind of honestly to make sure, well, they're good things to know, but it's also honestly making sure that you're watching the video. So helpful hint observation. A lot of time we have glassware and there's going to be chemicals going in the glassware. I always say assemble the glassware dry first. Get it all set up. Even if you're going to have to take some of it apart to put some chemicals in and stuff. Get it all assembled dry first so you know everything fits properly. You don't want to be doing that, figuring out if things fit properly when they've got possibly hazardous chemicals in them. Okay, so that's an example of a helpful observation. On the assignments that you download and that you're going to complete, there would be a place to put helpful hints observations. It may ask for 3, it may ask for 5 or something like that. It changes a little bit depending on how many I did. Okay, so you watch the experiment video and then you do the assignment. Like I said, the assignment's up there, you download it and you do the assignment. One thing that I've noticed, I wouldn't say every student should do this every single time, but a helpful thing for students that are like, I don't quite understand. You know, I watched the pre-lab video and I watched the experiment video and I'm looking at the assignment. I'm not quite sure how to do this. This is hard. And that can certainly happen. You know, it would happen to me, I'm sure, if I was back taking this class or whatever. But a nice thing that some students have done in the past that I think is helpful is watch the pre-lab lecture video. And then watch the experiment video, and then actually re-watch the pre-lab lecture video so that you watch it twice. I always hesitate to tell students about this thing that they probably already know. On YouTube, you can speed up a video, okay? I would not do that the first time you watch a pre-lab lecture. But if you're going to watch a pre-lab lecture for a second time, maybe that's something to think about, okay? And then you hand in the assignments. All the due dates and when the student pre-lab is due and when the assignments are due is on the syllabus. You're going to be handing them in on Blackboard. You should hand them in as a PDF, as one single PDF. There are free scan apps out there. Adobe Scan is one where it will let you take a bunch of pictures and then turn it into one PDF. For those of you that have access to a printer, that's a great way to do it because you can print out the assignments. Most of the assignments have like space or a box for you actually to do the work. I might try the calculations on scratch paper and then put them into the assignment, and then you can scan that guy and put it in. It might be the simplest and easiest, okay? But it's important. It should be one single PDF that you submit. Okay, so I've got a new thing that I started this summer, and that is 2 free skips. Now, what the heck does that mean? This is a lot. We're doing a lot of these laboratory experiments together over 7 weeks, which is normally done in 15 now, I guess 16, is it? But it's a lot. It's a lot to get it done, especially for those of you that are also taking the lecture course. But we also actually have, an obligation that this class has a certain amount of content and substance. So what I've done is create this skip policy. So you can have 2 skips, which means on the assignments, for all the calculations or problems and stuff like that, you can pick 2 of them that you skip. However, if you calcium hydroxide, I'm blanking right now on, I want the name of one of these and stuff. Here we are. Freezing points. Freezing points is one of the experiments and there's an assignment associated with freezing points. You could say skip. And what you should do at the very top of the assignment is write my skip 1 or my skip 2. Okay. However, very important, you still need to watch the pre-lab lecture and the experiment video. And on that assignment, you don't have to do the calculations and stuff because it's one of your skips. But for the helpful hints and observations at the very end, there's a place that tells you helpful hints, observations. And for the procedure, where you write down the procedure that you watched me do and stuff like that, you still have to have that in your skip. If you don't have that in your skip, 1 and 2, then it's a 0. Okay, so critical point. That way you'll watch all the videos. That'll be great. Okay, but you don't quite have to grind through all of these assignments in this 7 weeks. Okay, so it's kind of a compromise that I came up with. What the heck else to tell you guys? You can call me Gideon. I do have a PhD, but Gideon's fine. Please email me at gberger@hpu.edu, like is on the syllabus. Okay, don't use the Blackboard one or some other weird one that I don't know how to access. Academic integrity is extremely important. It's something I battle almost every single semester. And you know, I've got an entire thing you need to read, you need to put a photo ID on, you need to sign and upload it to Blackboard. I understand the pressures that people get into when you know, school it's pressure filled, and I totally empathize with you. I really do. I've been there. In undergrad, I think it was harder than graduate school. Honestly, it's like having 7 different bosses and none of them are talking to each other, and they don't care what the other boss is saying. They're saying, do this. I don't care what that guy told you to do. So it's tough, and I get it. So I get the procedure, or I get the pressure, I get the temptation, so forth and so on. Don't fall into it. If you're not prepared, you're handed in something late. Sometimes in life you got to take your licks, keep on moving, doesn't matter. But if you get caught doing the academic integrity, it's part of I can get in trouble if I don't act on it. And it can involve, really frequently does. I mean, it involves Fs, and it involves academic integrity reports to the dean of students, and can cause a student a world of trouble. I mean, so much trouble. And I always say it's like robbing a bank for $10. You're taking an enormous amount of risk, and the payoff really is insignificant. So just don't do it. Okay, I'm sorry. It's insulting to the 99% of you that would never do that, but I try to save the 1% from themselves. Okay? Please email me any questions. I have office hours, so forth and so on. They're on the syllabus. I can't think of anything else. Let me see. Wait, is there anything else I can think of? Sorry, before I let you go. Or stop. Press stop. No, I can't think of anything else. Okay, guys, I hope to get to talk to you and stuff like that, and if not, then I'm going to see you probably in the fall, perhaps in organic laboratory. Okay, guys, take care. Let me know what I can do for you.